Well, most critically, on the ADFA report, as has already been mentioned, they're recommending a Royal Commission. Basically, they say that the number and the seriousness of the abuse claims, the clear signs that defence was deficient in the way it handled those abuse claims, means that the only way to restore public confidence, essentially, in the Australian Defence Force Academy is to have a Royal Commission. I mean, that's it's big news. It's a big decision. It was always one of the tasks that the former Gillard government, who set up this Defence Abuse Task Force, which is headed by Len Roberts-Smith, the highly respected former judge and former military judge, also the father of course, of the Victoria Cross winner, Ben Roberts-Smith. One of his tasks was always to decide whether or not a Royal Commission was necessary. Stephen Smith, the former Defence Minister, sort of gave that to him as an option. I think early on, Len Roberts-Smith hinted that he probably didn't think that would be necessary. You know, after sifting through all these cases, he's now decided that it is. So clearly he's decided that, that the way Defence has handled it in the past, and if they just sort of let things chug along as they have been going, then that just won't be satisfactory. A Royal Commission is needed.
And having recommended that, would your expectation then would be that the government and the opposition will both support a Royal Commission? In other words, it's kind of inevitable. Yeah,
look, I've spoken to someone in the government this morning who said that they will be very seriously considering it. Look, the government's had a few Royal Commissions, obviously, already, and there was a talk at one time that maybe it had too many Royal Commissions on the go, but it's pretty hard, I think, for, given the stature of the task force, the stature of Len Roberts-Smith himself, I think it will be quite hard for the government to ignore that call.
Okay, now that's looking at the Defence Force Academy.
Correct.
Now what about, there's a second report, is that correct, looking at more widespread abuse?
Yeah, correct. And that's really just a sort of an update. It's a summary of everything the government has done, the task force has done so far on the broader question of abuse in the ADF. They've had about 2,400 complaints that they're going through. They've been paying reparations or compensation to abuse victims. I think they've paid out something like $28 million so far. They've referred some cases to state and territory police for investigation as well. The last time I checked, and this is several weeks ago, admittedly, none of those cases by the police had actually looked as if they were likely to lead to prosecutions. But really, the second report is really just a sort of summary of everything they've been doing. So, there's lots of work going on. Victims have been counselled by senior military officers as well, so including the Chief of the Defence Force, the previous one, David Hurley, the current one, Mark Binskin, have both sat down with abuse victims and listened to them personally. That was considered to be an important thing, that the abuse victims wanted to be heard by senior military figures. So all of that stuff has been going along.